just get the second page loaded so I can more easily see chat. Good morning for Thursday yoga with Sherri Koehler, yoga therapist Sherri Koehler. Welcome to my live channel. I'm playing with one of my fidget toys because I'm still, as you can see, actually, in addition to still getting used to being live on YouTube on Thursdays, I have changed up the entire space I'm teaching in. So that's a big deal. Why aren't we reloading? And yeah, that's kind of a big deal. The backup network. So yeah, a lot more space in this. I feel like the lighting's good. I have some curtains to set up today. Over here is actually kind of a walk area. And right at the edge of this wall, there's bright light coming through from our from the living room kitchen area in the house here. And there we go. Now I can see me, and more importantly, see the chat more clearly on that screen, second screen. So we are here. We're going to have a chair assisted class today, or the format I used to call when I offered it live in Portland Parks and Rec at one of the community centers. We called it Yoga for Vitality, to just kind of differentiate it from some of the other yoga classes. It was a class, in addition to always being chair assisted, which wasn't that different. There was a lot of classes at the Mount Scott Community Center when I used to teach there for elders. But my class always would include meditation and a breath practice of some sort. And for a while we experimented, actually I feel like for nearly 9 months, we experimented with doing the same exact yoga asana practice, the movement practice, every single time, 2 times a week. And we decided finally to change it up because it was a very core group of students and they felt that that gave them a lot of competency, but it would be fun to explore some other poses. So out of that arose this class is chair assisted. I do bring in things besides things from Hatha yoga. I'm an integrated movement therapist. I take training regularly as a yoga therapist. In fact, a little soon I'm going to be taking some training on yoga for our aging brains and brain health. But I also include things around functional movement that I might be something I learn in physical therapy and think, gosh, it'd be great if people learned that before they had an injury. And so you might see things where you're like, boy, that doesn't look like a usual Hatha yoga thing. It's why my classes and my videos in the channel include things like nerve gliding exercises, right? Or nerve flossing exercises. Anyway, let's get settled. I always start classes in a seated posture just because it helps me feel a little more alert and a little more present, whether the class is seated in chairs or is chair assisted like this one. When I teach this class on Tuesdays on Zoom, so there's live interaction with me and all the students, a lot of people actually start laying down supine on the mat already. So if that sounds really appealing to you, lay down or be seated. Preferably if you're seated on the floor, have some cushion underneath your hips. Feel like your back can be tall. I, over the years, started referring to it collectively as the comfortable enough position, which can be seated, supine, or even standing. It's comfortable enough. And that gift of the word enough reminds us that we might not be 100% comfortable, but it's enough, close enough. And the practice I most often come to is the one that I was taught when I, for many years, practiced with a Zen Buddhist community. And that was to just notice the breath. Well, I'm sorry you've had enough of me. Reading chat there. I just noticed it. Yeah. If you're still there, I hope you're hanging out. And I'm sorry your dad left when you were 5. Yeah, my complicated relationship with my fathers could take its own video channel. So I have a lot of empathy for you there. And this practice my Zen teachers taught me was to just notice the breath just as it is. We don't even have to feel like we need to change the breath. We're just noticing the ordinary breath. And if your mind feels really busy or you feel very sleepy, don't close your eyes right now. Just let your gaze fall a few feet out in front of you or up above you if you're lying down. And don't focus on anything in particular. Now, as you're breathing this ordinary breath, well, thanks. I love the follow. I'm going to keep the meditation going and then respond to chat. I'm learning how to do this chat thing. But what I was about to say, and I'm going to stay focused on, is as we're noticing the ordinary breath, what is the faintest sensation you can notice about your breath? So the faintest thing might be listening for the breath if it's quiet enough where you're at. And if it's not quiet, what I invite people to do is feel right at the inner edges of your nostrils. And as you inhale, unless it's quite warm where you are, the inhale is usually cooler than the exhale. Now I invite you to let your breath deepen a little bit. A breath that feels both a little fuller, a little bigger, perhaps in and out, breathing all the way in and all the way out. And as you breathe this deeper breath, what is the biggest felt sensation of the breath you notice? No wrong answer here either. You can't be wrong about what you notice about your own breath. And as we move from first to faintest to biggest, the more we do this practice, the more quickly we become grounded in the present moment and more reliably get connected to what we call the self of wisdom, jnana maya kosha. And this wisdom self is non-judging, curious awareness. And we use that self of wisdom to notice first what's happening in our physical body, this body, anomaya kosha. So we breathe in and we move from our head, past each thumb and finger, make your way down to each toe. Note first what doesn't feel good in your body today. Just make a little list mentally. And then notice neutral places like off on the very top of the head, unless you have a bad headache, the earlobes, the tip of the nose, pretty neutral. And then are there any parts of the body that feel good today? My feet feel pretty good. Cold, but good. And then we come back to feeling our breath and we take in a deep breath. And as we breathe out, we check in with body of the energetic self, pranamaya kosha. So that is always first an assessment. How much energy do I have today in this moment? It's like looking at our the gauge, the fuel gauge. Okay. It is also just an assessment. Where are we in the state of our nervous systems? And in a very yogic sense, pranamaya kosha The energetic self is that system of chakras and the Ida and the Pingala and the Shushumna, all those energetic lines in the body in yoga. And then we take in a deep breath. And as we breathe out, we check in with the body of the heart mind, Manomaya kosha. Manomaya kosha is the thinking, feeling self that is worried about what's going on in chat and, thinking about groceries and all of that. So we, like the body, we notice the not good things first. We assess if there's any boredom, judgment, worry, frustration, grief. Then we notice neutral things like it is the last Thursday of May. Pretty neutral, unless this is a significant day for you particularly. And then good things. I'm grateful to see things in chat, even though I feel awkward about reading chat and still learning it. And grateful for this beautiful setup and I've been able to work on the past few days and rearrange things and power, water, Wi-Fi. I have 2 networks in case one fails. And then we've done all of these little assessments, right? We've checked in with all the systems of the self. And we're really grounded with that wisdom self. And so we just notice the breath for a moment longer. And then we're going to add some movement to our practice. And I like to start in yoga for vitality because some people might be on the ground, supine. Some people might be seated in a chair. We start with a movement kind of everyone can do a version of. And I like to do this one a lot. I inhale, take the arms up and exhale, right? Sweep them down the sides. I'm going to back up a little bit so my arms stay on camera. I sometimes call it like it's, a version of the yoga snow angel, right? We're going to start, inhale, sweep up in front of us. Exhale, push down to the sides. And this is a movement that works whether you are seated or supine. I think it's a little easier seated. When we're supine, the shoulders sometimes have a complaint. Now pause, we're going to go in reverse. So we go out the sides and then down the front to the sides. Up and down the front. Up and down the front. And then just where you're at. Now this is one, if you're seated, your torso is going to turn to the right. If you're supine, you're going to hug your knees in and drop those knees over to the right. Supine folks, check with your shoulders. Does it feel good to let the arms extend? Seated folks, if you're seated on a chair or be seated forward, so you could possibly slip your right hand around your back a little bit. And then we're going to all get really tall, lengthen through the spine, and our face turns slowly to the left. And then just let the breath move in and out. Feel where the breath moves the ribs in a twist, how you feel it different from when you were not twisted. And let the face unwind. Seated folks, if you have an arm slip behind your back, let that unwind. And then everyone unwind your body slowly. Lengthen to your version of a tall mountain. Reach your hands, reach your feet. Get nice and tall. And then exhale, let yourself start twisting to the other side. What I kind of love about this is I can make that screen bigger and look at the chat. Thank you for thank you, Linda Joyce, who said you could never have enough of me and great for me. Linda Joyce is one of my regular in-person students who I'm always so grateful to see y'all here. If you haven't yet let your face turn a little to the right, try that. Seated folks, if you want to slip an arm behind your back, check that out. I was saying to my quote regular students, the ones that I see on Zoom, so I actually see and interact with, and some of them I've taught fall prevention to, or They have met me at art workshops I teach. And I told them that I've been watching other people who live stream. Okay, let your face unwind. If you've got an arm behind your back, bring that out slowly. And I've been watching kind of what they do. And I notice sometimes they'll go, okay, reading chat, just to let you know that they're not really like, it looks like we're not paying attention to the camera, but it's because we're paying attention to the chat. And it's a very different interface when I'm teaching students and they can just come off of mute and ask a question. So if you ever have questions, please do put them in chat. I'm trying to make sure to track those. We are going to sit up just a little bit taller. One more thing, seated. Reach up. Now, if you're supine, you've got to come up to seated for this one because we're going to sit up and just reach a little side to side, get a little side bend. Reach the hands and get a little stretch to the side body. We've had a little twist. We've been getting tall. Get a little, one of the side bends the body does here seated. Let that release. Let your arms drop down. Just do a couple little back strokes. And then seated or standing, let me come forward just a moment. I want to do a little bit of a neck stretch, and you could be seated or standing. Sometimes I realize everybody's laying down and we haven't really done a lot for the neck. We've done one already, which is to counter twist from the neck when we did the body twist. But we're going to sit up tall, take the head to neutral. And first, I'm just making a few figure eights with my head. I'm kind of pretending I'm drawing with my nose in front of me. It's a sideways figure eight, which, yes, is an infinity symbol. And I'm going to do a big double shoulder shrug, two of them. What I really notice, and my PTs help me notice, is what, especially because we do so much stuff with devices, our heads tend to do this. So whenever you're in mountain pose, really check, right? You've brought your head back actually into mountain pose, reach the head up, and then squeeze your right ear over there to the right shoulder. Take in a breath. And as you breathe out, slowly turn till you are facing the horizon to the right. Check shoulders are relaxed and dropping down. We're going to breathe in. And as we breathe out, tuck your chin down, 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 down. Take a breath in. And as we breathe out, draw your chin along the collarbone, right? Tucking it to the neck. And then as you breathe in, your head's going to lift up. We're going to big double shoulder shrug back. I'm going to check I've got a mountain pose. Take a breath in and breathe out. Squeeze my left ear over left shoulder. Take in a breath. As I breathe out, I'm going to turn my face slowly to the left horizon. And then take a breath in. As I breathe out, I'm going to tuck my chin down so I'm facing the earth to the left over the shoulder. Breathe in. As you breathe out, draw the chin along the collarbone, tucking it to the neck, and take a breath in and out. And then breathe in, let the head lift up. And rather than a double, we're going to do 2 rounds of back strokes there with the shoulders. We're going to do one more round of this, in part because on the first round, particularly this direction, I'm like, ooh, that's very stiff today. So join me in one more round to help me loosen up my neck. We're going to take in a breath. And as we breathe out, I squeeze my right ear over there to my right shoulder. Breathe in. As I breathe out, I turn my head, and I go pretty slowly because my neck, due to being a person with Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, has some misalignment to it permanently. Take in a breath. And as we breathe out, tuck your chin down. Take in a breath. As you breathe out, draw your chin along the collarbone. Feel the shoulders relax. Breathe in, roll the head up. We're going to go directly to the other side. Breathe out, tuck left ear over left shoulder. Take a breath in. And as you breathe out, turn your face to the left horizon. Take a breath in. And as you breathe out, tuck the chin down and take a breath in. And as you breathe out, draw your chin along the collarbone. And before you lift the head up, breathe in. I've taken kind of referring to it as the downward facing no, right? Just doing my head, rocking my head a little bit back and forth before we bring it up, loosening up any tension there, particularly at the back of the neck where it connects the shoulders. And then I'll come up, just a little movement and a little bitty no here. And then a couple more of those, I say several more figure eights with my kind of leading with my nose. Okay, thank you all. My neck feels a little more moving, and it put me conveniently close to the tea. I haven't had enough to drink of. So why don't you all join me if you haven't had a hydration break? Let's all have one together. And then we're going to transition to a gentle standing flow. All right, check and chat. No new ones. So when I do a standing flow, so the first thing you'll always notice when I'm doing this class particularly, or any class that has standing yoga, I have a big T set up. The big T lets me transition to doing these movements this way and this way easily, stay on screen. You don't need a big T. I do recommend a mat for this, or doing this class in tennis shoes on a floor that's like a floor with a non-carpeted floor. That's a faster way of saying it. But the reason I really like to have a mat is because it keeps the chair from slipping. Okay? So I always have it so at least the back 2 feet are on the mat with me. This is going to be a standing flow. Pardon me. I'm going to step forward instead of stepping backwards into a warrior one here. It's a little bit different way from, we usually step backwards to warrior one, but stepping forward adds a little bit of interest to it, a little bit of balance. So first I'm coming to a mountain pose. I brought my hands to Anjali Mudra, Namaskar Asam. And because I'm paying attention to the camera, I'm actually very mindfully now going to bring my head actually back to where it belongs. And then because I'm going to step forward onto my right foot, I lean a little bit of my mountain pose left. And then I'm going to step forward. And before I take my arms up, right, I'm going to just bend in and out of my knee a couple times. And then find what I call, the just right amount of bend. If this feels wobbly, I'm standing pretty narrow. A couple things you can do. Stand a little wider and see what I'm doing with my arms, taking them out to the sides. This is sometimes called the Vimanasana or charioteer's pose. Hey, before taking the arms up or even not taking the arms up at all. Now I can feel my weight is a little loaded over that right foot, so I'm going to push out of my right foot, bring my weight a little more centered between both feet. Right, so classic warrior one here. Now, I'm going to turn, and as I turn, I'm not turning into warrior two. I'm turning and I'm stretching that front leg out and I'm making a triangle. There's a warrior two coming. Okay, so first I get set up. I have my front foot. This is one of the few things I kept from the years of Iyengar yoga I've studied. In standing yoga, I have to agree. If you looked at my front heel and drew a line, it would end up at the arch of my back foot. And that tends to center us pretty well when we're in these kinds of poses like triangle and warrior two and side angle. There's several more. I'm missing a few. But I set my feet up that way, right? I've got my toes stretched out. Then I'm setting my torso up, right? I'm going to draw my hips back to the left, and that lets me reach towards the right. Then I'm going to bend at the waist and flow down. Now we're going to add a little adventure here. And if this feels like enough, feel free to skip this part. But if it sounds fun, we're going to breathe in. And as I breathe out, I grab a giant helium balloon to the right with both hands. And I inhale and I lift it up over my head. Exhale out to give the arms a break there. And then let's do two more. Inhale up, exhale, flow right and down into a triangle. Breathe in. Exhale, grab a giant helium balloon. Inhale, lift it over your head. Exhale, let the arms flow down. We're going to actually do 4 triangles, but just 3 lift ups. Inhale, arms expand out. Exhale, flow into a triangle. Breathe in. Exhale, grab a giant balloon. Inhale, lift it over your head. Exhale, let the arms come all the way down. Check your stance. Inhale, arms come out. Exhale, reach out to the right and down. Inhale, right? Big stretch. Exhale, here we're gonna change. I could bring my right hand or my right forearm is more comfortable for me onto my right thigh. You notice how I bent that right knee? And then I start bringing, first I'm gonna push out of my hands, turn my chest to that left side of the mat. And here comes my left arm up first, maybe over. Notice how the hand turns towards the ground as I just skim the left arm across the side of my head, reaching towards the right. Push through that left foot and left hand, reach through the left hand. Okay, here we're gonna come up. I'm gonna draw the left arm back, pull to the left, come up. Remember I said warrior 2 was coming. Here it is. So we sink into our strength in warrior 2. Turn the right hand up and inhale. Sweep that up and over, reverse warrior. Inhale, come back up. Exhale, sink into your strength here. Next, inhale, right? Step that back foot around, come back to warrior 1. Breathe out, right? We're settling, and then breathe in. Remember, we stepped backwards into our warrior 1. And take just a moment, have a little sip of water. We've hit the magic moment where all my allergy medication starts to work together. It makes me very dry mouthed, but I can breathe a little bit better, so it pays off. So we are going to do the other side now. So you can see I'm finding a mountain pose. I got my feet underneath the hip bones, tailbone tucking down, top of the head reaching up, head neutral. And there it goes. You can see that right. I shift the mountain right and I step forward. A bit of a wobble on that one, just why the chair is here. And I just do the same thing. Bend in and out. Okay, I think that knee's ready. That feels right. Maybe I'm going to widen the stance a little bit. So in this one, if you've studied Iyengar yoga, you will have been taught to line the heels up. And it's like you're standing on a balance beam, right? Makes warrior 1 feel very unsteady. I feel like Ashtanga Vinyasa also, same stance, same Krishnamacharya is the same teacher. Woo. So, right, widen your stance. Take your arms out wide. Feel like you're steady in the feet, even between the 2 legs. Maybe then take the arms up. When they go up, watch for that, right? We want the shoulders away from the ears. And we've been there a while, so let's now turn it to the right. And I stretched it out a little bit, and then I'm pulling my leg back as I get my feet in that heel to arch alignment. Tailbone down, shoulders shrugging in. I'm lifting from my triceps, and now I'm going to let the hips reach right, reach out with my left arm, flow into a triangle. Take in a breath here. Here come these lift ups. Exhale, grab a helium balloon, now over here to the left. Inhale, pull it up over your head. Exhale, let the arms come down. Inhale, arms flow out. Exhale, hips reach right. We flow left and down into a triangle, Trikonasana. Big breath in. Exhale, giant helium balloon to the left side, and inhale, lift it over your head. We've got one more of these lift ups. Exhale, let the arms flow down. Inhale, arms flow out. Exhale, flow to the left, hips reach right. Triangle, breathe in. Breathe out, giant balloon. Breathe in, lift it. Breathe out, release it. One more triangle, then it becomes our side angle. Inhale the arms out. Exhale, hips right, flow down, triangle, big breath in. Breathe out, bend that front left knee, bring left hand or forearm to it. Push out of that hand or forearm, turn your chest to the right, and then start reaching right arm first up, then maybe over towards the left. And pause here for a moment, everyone. Breathe as you reach right foot to right hand, pushing out of the left arm, turning the chest to the right. Now inhale, pull that right arm back, it levers you up, and you are in warrior two. Right? Find your strength there, settle into that strength. Feel centered between the legs. Turn that left hand up, and inhale, sweep it up and over for a reverse warrior and breathe out. Inhale, come on back up and breathe out. Inhale, step around, reach up, breathe out. And inhale, step backwards into a warrior one. Okay. Take a moment, give the legs a little shake. Okay, a little hula hoop. Side to side movement. We did these side bends earlier. These get the other side to side movement our spine makes, because our spine makes an S curve. Let's have a moment. I need a little hydration break again. And we're going to do a few balancing poses. Now, before we get doing these, I'm going to call out today, one of these balancing poses you might like to have a yoga strap for. We will definitely be using a yoga belt, yoga strap. Remember, you do not need a purpose-made yoga strap. You could use a dog leash, bathrobe tie. And longer is better. So dog leash actually probably might work better. But the point is non-stretchy. I have a whole video on my channel on the whole topic of, do you need to buy a purpose-built yoga strap? So if you don't have one, just get something. A tea towel honestly will work. If you do have one, go grab it, have it handy. While we're grabbing props, when we get to the end for that rest posture at the end, if you have a kind of yoga blanket, which yoga blankets mean that they're not fuzzy and fleecy, they don't compress it all the way, they actually add some structure. Grab a yoga blanket. If you do not have a yoga blanket, a bath towel will work. I want to share with everyone today just a little something you can do in that last posture of rest to just feel a little more supported. But back to the yoga strap. Now, the one you often will see me use is something called the OPTP stretch out strap, not an affiliate. The reason I use this is because I have issues with my hands and shoulders, and it lets me slip my hand through the loops and kind of grip with my whole hand instead of just having to grab. So it gives my thumbs particularly a break. You can see I wear like a splint, a silver ring splint on this hand because of my thumb issues on that hand particularly. I injured this hand, and this had to work so hard that it now needs surgery. I'm going to just move this a little off and to the side. We're going to grab this for a moment before we get to those balancing poses. Just get a nice big side bend. Oh, a little bit to each side. And then do a little figure eight above your head with it. Actually holding mine a little close for that. I like to suggest like a big wide hold. Just realized my shoulders felt like they could use just a little more lubrication. All right. The reason I had you get this is that we're going to do a pose called Dancer, not Tajirasana. And Dancer, notice how I brought that back, got the feet on the mat. It's this one, right? Where someone grabs a foot, and when you see people do this, you'll see them like bend way over, try and pull the foot up. I'm going to show a modified version of that actually really keeps the stretch focused here, and we don't bend over. It's actually the approach used in Iyengar yoga. Now, sometimes people just watching me do this, I see them wince, because that is, right, that is a lot of compression for the knee. This is a big stretch if this is not already stretched out. We can use a yoga strap. And what I suggest for this one is that I'm going to show the other strap here because not everyone has that stretch out strap that's already made of loops. I have a more standard, you can't really get this strap anymore, which makes me sad. I used to have like 30, more than 30 of them I took to in-person classes. But what you can see I'm doing is I'm making a smallish loop. And I'm gonna hold onto the chair with one hand. And I'm gonna slip my foot through that loop all the way through. And you can see I get it around my ankle. And then what I can do, especially, this is why this used to be my favorite yoga strap before the, and it still would be before this OPTP, oh, the other strap, is because it's so long, people can just do that. All right. So we're going to start with that dancer pose. If you need to use a strap to lift the leg up, go ahead and get that strap. We're going to start with our right leg as our standing leg. So you're going to put that around the left foot, just like I was just doing. I'm going to set those just off screen again for the moment. Okay. So when we're doing standing mount, one-legged standing balance poses, right, there's a very deliberate shift of your mountain pose to the standing leg. We lift the left leg up, and some of you can kick up and get a hold of your ankle. Notice how I said ankle? We don't want to grab the toes. That's not kind for the toes. And I'm going to turn because what I really want to show with this, see how my knee is a little bit forward? I'm going to bring my knee so it points down, and then I'm going to check. I can feel my left hip is a little bit up from lifting my leg up. I even my hips out, and I'm going to take my tailbone down towards the floor. And I have a very strong stretch on the front of my left thigh now. Now, if I wanted to add a little bit more adventure to this, I let go of the chair and take the right arm up. And then I'm going to check in. Knee is dropping down, hips are even, tailbone's reaching down, strong through the core. Okay, and then let that release. And move the hips a little side to side. I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to change and do this one from face on, but I want the chair to be on my left side. So on the side where I am not holding my leg with my hand. So we definitely want that. And then I'm going to find my mountain pose. I can keep a hand on the chair as I shift weight to that left leg, kick my leg up, and look, you can tell, especially with my shirt today, the white and the blue, you can see my right hip's up in the air, right? So I bring the hip down, and then I point the knee at the floor. I can even kind of flex my foot back a little bit. Ooh, no, I can't, not today, not a lot. Strong pelvic tilt forward, which is that taking the tailbone down. Now, I feel like, especially, do you notice how close I am to that chair back? So I actually have a little bit of support from the chair on my hip there on that left side. And I'm reaching down, down, down through the right knee, keeping my tailbone reaching down, strong through the core and abdomen, long through the spine. All right, and then I'm going to let that release. And then I'm going to move my hips a little side to side. I'm realizing the clock in here turned on to its brightest with all my lights on. It's actually really hard to see. Give me just one moment to set up my other clock. Double check chat. This will be good because I won't be able to see the other one, I realize, on the floor. Here we go. That'll be right here. Here we go. learning all these new tricks of this room. Last night I was like, oh, I'll get the clock that's in this room plugged back in and set up so I can see it. And then I turned all the lights on. Okay, we're gonna do one more standing balancing pose. Now that I checked the time and I'm not sure, it's not 10 minutes to the hour, but it's still 20 minutes till the hour. We're gonna do tree pose, and we're gonna add some variations to tree pose. Now, the chair, if you're using one, is on the left. We're gonna be standing on the right. We're gonna take advantage of the chair back for tree pose. So, pardon me. I always love when I go to take a deep breath in and it makes me cough because of my allergies. Let's see if I can do this one without reaching around the camera awkwardly. Okay, much better. So tree pose with variations with a chair to add a little bit of support. So the first support, obviously, right, I can grab it with my hand, but secondary support, and I got to kind of do a little, make sure I am in just the right height. And you can see what I'm doing. I'm bringing my knee up and onto the chair back. Now, two things this is great for, because when I teach tree pose, standing tree pose, actually when seated tree pose too, I will tell everybody to reach out and down from the hip through the knee. What's great about the chair is you can feel that. You can do this with a wall too, bring this knee up and onto a wall. Now, I'm gonna can you see that hip there, right? It's sticking out a little bit. I'm gonna get it underneath me. That actually took me a little further away from the chair, and so I pulled it a little closer. As I brought the right arm up, now I'm gonna bring the left arm up. Holding tree pose, tailbone is reaching down towards the earth, right? Abdomen's coming back to spine, all those balancing things. First variation, float the left hand back down, breathe in, reach up through the right hand, breathe out, side bend to the left. You're gonna bend that left elbow, reach your knee to the left. Okay, now inhale, come up, arms are gonna stretch out. As you exhale, you're gonna twist towards your up left knee and the chair. Okay, now inhale, unwind, and reach up again. Get that right hip underneath you. All right, and then release. And then, move those hips a little side to side. That right leg might appreciate a little shake. Then, chair, you can just turn around where you're at. I'm going to switch the chair around so I'm able to see instead of just looking at the wall. But I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to try to keep my hip a little more underneath me, a little close. That's pretty good. So I got there we go. Hip underneath me on the left, right knee reaching towards the chair. Bring that a little closer. Here we go. I don't have my foot very high. I have it just below my knee. And that feels close enough. There we go. Okay, that's better. And one hand and the other. Vrishasana, tree pose. Feel yourself get as tall as you can here. Okay, now right hand comes to the chair. Breathe in, reach up through that left hand. Exhale, bend the right elbow. Side bend right. Try not to lean to the right too much. Push through that left leg, pull up. Stretch your arms out. Exhale, twist to the right. Bring the hands to the heart center. And now inhale, unwind, reach up. Push down through that left foot. And let yourself release. And move those hips a little side to side. We're gonna do a couple of little, what I call the whole leg circles. I'm leaning, actually, let's start on because the left foot, we just came off it. Lean on the right foot. I don't mash down the arch, right? Especially not mine. I just go from the inner edge of the arch to the heel. Make the ball of the foot to the edge of the heel. Give that leg a little shake. And then lean on that left leg, right leg, same thing. A few big circles one way, the other way. Give that leg a shake. A little yoga hula hoop. One way, the other way. And the hips move a little side to side. So we are going to come down to the floor here in just a moment. Make sure that yoga strap is going to be down where you land. And we're going to come down and onto our backs. So I'm rolling this one up because I'm going to switch to the other one. Give me just a moment to move my various devices and camera angles and water bottles. And then I will meet you here down on the floor. I remember I suggested blanket or a bath towel if you do not have a dedicated purpose yoga blanket. Get my chair off. Here we go. Yeah. There we go. Should do it. Okay. A little bit in shadow, I realized once I'm down. So, okay. And when I'm coming down, now I kind of use my elbows, hands, I keep my chin tucked, bring myself down very carefully. And then you'll obviously always do a little bit of a bridge, lift the hips up. Right, hands are down by the sides. We're going to actually do a couple rounds of a moving bridge and get visit from Ursa Minor. Inhale, we're going to lift up and over. Exhale, arms come out. Now, I'm going to call out, pause a moment on those bridges. For some folks, this movement that I make look really easy is not. And if your shoulders are like, I don't do that, what you do is you come out, hit my clock. I call it the yoga snow angel. You come out as high as your arms, right, are comfortable with, and then come down. But if your arms will do that up and over, notice how I press down the back of my head, press down from my upper arms a little bit, lift my chest up, kind of line my chest up, lift my hips, get my my tailbone reaching in the direction of my heels. Keep going. Someone is definitely, this is very new to him too. Inhale, we lift up and over. Exhale, we flow down. The arms have to go over twice as far as the hips. Hi, good morning. And down. Inhale, up and down. 2 more of those. All right, now when you come down, maybe take a moment. Bridges always end up with my shirt in the wrong place. I need this, please. Thank you. And find your yoga strap. So have that handy, and we're going to let the left leg stretch out along the floor and draw the right leg up towards us. A little off there we go. Heels off my mat. Draw the right knee up towards us, give it a little squeeze, and before we do anything else, just circle your right ankle a few times one way, a few times the other way, and then point and flex your right foot a few times. Okay. Then, now, if your hands, right, are really tender and holding your knee is going to make your hands hurt, you can hoop this strap around the front of your shin, just below the knee. Otherwise, we're going to grab the right knee with that left hand and make a couple little circles with the hip. Okay. Coming towards the midline with the knee, change directions. And the next time your right knee is moving towards the left, pause, really start to tug it upwards in the direction of your left shoulder. Now, your right hip and back are going to want to think, oh, we're going to go into a twist, but I want you to resist that. Pull your hip and back down on the right, even water bottle, even make a cactus arm, or let your right arm reach out to the right. Just a little pause here, stretching through the side of the hip here. And then inhale, bless you. My
The cat is indoors, except he gets to go on the deck, which is off the second floor of our kitchen, and he just came in from snoozing in the sun. Okay, now I'm going to take, I've got my knee drawn in, but I'm going to take it down to the right hand. I'm going to draw my left arm into, again, cactus arm, or stretch it out and down towards the hip. And then press down the left leg as well as you draw that right knee out and up towards the right armpit. Right leg's kind of relaxed as we're doing this. I'm reaching through the left leg and left side. Okay, right knee comes back up and in. Give it a squeeze. Now you will want the yoga strap. So some people would have arms long enough to take your knee so it's pointing directly above the hip and the thigh is moving away from the body, but my hands it would be hard for me to reach there. And what we don't want is curling up, I'm not even going to show it, curling up away from the floor to grab our leg, because that puts us in loaded spinal flexion. So I recommend, while the leg is hugged in, you hook your strap behind the back of the thigh, and then keep a hold of the strap as you extend the thigh away from the torso until the knee points at the ceiling. And then you're holding the strap, and see why I like that. The strap made of loops. I don't have to actually hold it, but my leg is steady here. We're gonna do 5 sciatic nerve glides, supine ones. So right now I've got my lower leg relaxed, and I'm gonna start bringing it up, toes point up. I can feel a little stretch in the back of my thigh, so that's my point to stop. And I flip the foot over and point the toes at my face. So I really feel the back of my leg. And then I let this swing down. And I swing it up. Now, when I swing it up, I am pressing my low back to the floor, abdomen to the floor, pressing through my left leg. Right leg swings up, foot flexes back, right leg swings down. It's with control. Up, foot flex back, down. 2 more. Up, foot flex back, down, up, foot flexes back, and down. And then I draw the thigh back in close to me, and I slip the strap along the bottom of my right foot. And I use the strap now to pull the thigh in close to my torso. I'm going to keep the thigh in close to my torso, and I'm going to push my foot up to the sky. And if this is really tight, you might do that a couple of times. Okay, push up until you're like, okay, I'm ready to hold this. Supine dragon lunge is what we are in. I'm going to get my arm out of the way here. You can see my left leg is stretched out along the floor. You could take both sides of the strap into the right arm, make a cactus with an arm with your left arm, or stretch it out. Now I'm going to start pushing. I need to get slack in my strap here, pushing my right foot up till my leg lengthens. Once it comes up all the way, hold both sides of the strap. Draw a couple of circles with the whole leg one way, a couple of circles the other way. Now I have my leg perpendicular to the floor, so that means my foot is directly above my hip at a 90-degree angle. That's possible for my legs to do. If your leg to be fully extended needs to be more out towards the wall away from you, go ahead and do that. We want to have the leg fully extended here. Both sides of the strap are going to go over to the left hand, and I'm going to take my right arm and make a cactus arm and start pushing my leg over the midline to the left. And so right foot pushes against that strap. I'm holding the strap taut with my left hand. And I like to extend through my arm rather than try and pull a lot with my elbow. Push through the foot, push it across. If you're not getting a stretch in the side of the hip and you want to, it's all calf. Look at how I brought my leg so it's crossing the lower leg instead of up high. So we can move this leg up and down, lengthening through the yoga strap till we're like, oh, that's the spot in the hip that really I need to stretch. Or in the IT band, which runs from the hip down past the knee. Okay, now push against the strap. Bring that leg up above you again. Right? Maybe make a couple circles if it's feeling tight. Go ahead and grab the strap with the right hand, and you're going to bend the left knee and put that left foot on the floor. Again, cactus arm or arm is down or left hand even resting on the torso. I reached up high with the right arm so the elbow doesn't bend. And as my right leg goes out and up towards my right armpit, I have dropped my left knee out to the left as well. So I'm counterbalancing the right leg extending out by using the left side of the body pressing down. So I can't tip towards the right at all. This is not leg to floor pose. This is actually hand to big toe pose. Whoops. And because my hand, you know, can often reach my big toe, but it's just easier to use the strap because I can really push. You can see there, I brought my toes back, pushing my heel against the strap. And it's more like this leg is coming out and up towards the armpit rather than towards the floor. I brought that leg up and I brought my left knee up. Now, if, well, first, everybody pull a little on the strap, pull the toes towards your face and push up through the heel. Right? And you kind of want to get the strap there at the ball of the foot and you're pulling down with it. This is a really good stretch for the bottom of the foot. If you are dealing with plantar fasciitis, this is a good stretch for the bottom of the foot and that Achilles tendon attachment. Some of you have been wishing for more of a hamstring stretch. Here it is. You draw the leg closer to your head. I'm actually not going to do that very much today. I'm going to focus on that Achilles tendon stretch. You can tell I actually could need that. Now, we're going to go to figure 4 next. What I do, and it's because I've been doing this for so many years, you can see I take the foot down and I slip the strap around the front of the other knee, right? It looks like that. I am putting the front of my strap around the front of my left leg just below the knee. But I often, because I've been using yoga straps for so long, I flip that past there and people don't quite realize what I've done. So I'm going to show you. I then am crossing my right ankle there to the left thigh just above the knee. Now, I'm going to be honest, you can see me reaching that leg, my right knee out. I'm moving from the hip to reach the knee that way away from me. I'm pushing for my left foot to keep my back on the floor right now. For many people, just putting their right leg in this position is an enormous stretch. And if that's you, just let go of the strap. Stay right where you're at. Don't add anything to your figure 4. Some of you, and I'm one of you, right? I actually get a lot out of the next bit, which is lifting, and I'm using the strap for this. I'm lifting my left leg up off the floor. Now, many people, this is a time you'll reach around and grab the back of the thigh with the hands, but that does put your spine into loaded spinal flexion. And if you're dealing with low bone density, that may be contraindicated. And hard on the hands, hard on the shoulders and elbows and wrists. So the strap is such a good adaptation. The other thing I like about the strap is this. Look at this. I hold onto the strap and I draw a couple circles one way with my left hip, and therefore the right, and then the other way. I always like to rock a little bit when I first get into figure 4 because my back sometimes feels bunchy once my legs come up. So once my back feels smooth, I'm going to try and reach my right knee out again, keep the right foot flexed back, and then strong through the spine, strong through the abdomen. I'm pressing my abdomen towards the floor, and I'm going to kind of resist that by tipping forward on my sit bones and sacrum till my tailbone points towards the earth, which makes your piriformis muscle wake up and say hello to the day. Piriformis is a small muscle that's kind of sits in the middle of the gluteus medius and the gluteus maximus. So kind of in the middle of your backside, the side of your backside. And it's hard to stretch. And this little adding the tailbone tip in figure 4, I showed it to one of my PTs over a year ago and they went, ooh, it's very satisfying. Okay, we're going to twist now. And the twist I'm going to do stays in figure 4. I brought my left foot back down to the floor. I'm going to reach up and put my left hand around the front of my right ankle. And then I'm going to let my legs drop over. Look how I get my right arm though, so the shoulders stay steady. Legs drop over here to let me keep them on screen a little more, to the left in figure 4. Years ago, I had a teacher call this sleeping pigeon. Now, this does put some pressure through the hips. So if your hips do have low bone density and that's contraindicated, I have osteoporosis, but because I've done yoga for so many years, I'm still allowed to do some of these things carefully. But let me show you the most gentle twist anyone can do. I have my legs at kind of 90-degree angle, and look how I actually roll. I let the legs come all the way down. Then I roll my torso back to the floor. Right? Maybe I let the arms open out or I keep them nice and close. Shockingly, that one actually is stiffer to me today than this one. Who knows sometimes? So that's why usually I say, I'll show you a twist, but if there's a twist that feels better, do that. Okay, we are gonna roll ourselves to the left here. Roll on out of this, come to a full body stretch. Oh, and then we're gonna go through the other side. So we hug that left knee in, give it a good squeeze. And before we do anything else, we circle the left ankle a few times one way, a few times the other way. I am stretched out through my right leg. It's pressing down to the floor. I'm going to take my left knee in my right hand. First cactus arm with the left hand there. Ooh, and as I draw the knee across, I'm going to draw a couple of circles here. While I'm going through this one, I want to point out this whole series we're doing on the floor, I'm doing on the floor. This one is great to do on top of your bed. Right? And then once I do a few circles, I anchor my left side down and I'm going to tug with the right hand and tug my left knee up in the direction of my armpit and pause just a moment. And bring that back in, give that a squeeze. Right arm goes out, left hand gets that left leg. I'm not really grabbing the knee this time, I'm grabbing it really the shin. And I wrap my hand around the shin and draw the left knee up towards the left armpit. I'm pressing down through the right thigh, reaching out through the right foot. This one often ends up being a stretch through the groin, through both sides, really. So you can feel that sometimes through that right side. Now bring that back in, give it a squeeze, and strap comes into play. It goes around the back of the left thigh, and we bring the thigh away from the torso until the knee is perpendicular to the floor, or the knee is pointing directly to the sky. Press abdomen down, right? So the back stays anchored, and now we swing the left leg up. When we feel some tension in the back of the leg, we flip the foot over, toes point at our face, and then we swing it down with some control. 5 of those. Up, foot flex back, and down, and up, foot flexes back, and down. 2 more. And back down, and I draw the thigh back towards me, and I bring the strap around the bottom of my foot, right around the ball of the foot, and I use that strap to really pull the thigh down first towards the torso. Right, and then I push my foot against the strap and push the foot up. And this one, right, even though we did those sciatic nerve glides, you might find I got to do a couple of those till it is comfortable to stay up. Thigh drawing down, foot pushing up, supine dragon lunge. I am still reaching my right thigh down towards the floor, reaching out through that right foot. And up goes the left leg. Gives the strap some slack. Take that left foot up. Right, maybe draw a few circles here first. Whole leg circles. Okay, and then strap goes over there to the right hand. Left arm goes out. I'm going to start pushing my foot across the midline towards that right side. And remember that from the other side, I don't have to cross right above my hip. I can come lower, cross more above the thigh, more above the shin, till I feel like I'm getting just the right stretch through that left side of the leg and hip. Okay, push that back up, reach up, get a hold of that strap with the left hand. I'm going to bend the right knee, put the right foot on the floor. Right arm stretches out to either cactus arm or out. And note how I reach up high to try and grab that. Then I'm going to push left foot out and up to the left. Right knee is going to open to the left. And I turn my foot so it really pushes up towards the sky instead of off towards the side, and then up and out. We'll pause there. You're pushing back down through the right side, reaching out through the right knee. All right, bring that left leg back up, bring the right knee back up. Pull gently on the strap along the ball of the foot. Bring the toes back towards your face. This might be, and it is for me, a big calf stretch in addition to a bottom of the foot stretch. So because it's such a big calf stretch for me, I'm not actually going to try and bring my leg any closer to my head using the strap. If you would like to, yeah, definitely not worth it for me. Woo. Keep it a little, especially if like you're me and your knees hyperextend, make sure they don't here as you do this. Okay, then strap, it slips around the front of the right knee, and then we cross that left ankle onto the right leg. You'll see me go, ooh, wince a little bit. I am flexing back the left foot, pushing out of the right foot so my back is anchored, and I'm trying to reach this knee out by moving from the hip. We're getting an external rotation of the left hip here. And if that feels like all the figure four you need today, just let go of the strap, set it off to the side. Stay just like this. But if lifting that right leg up would add something, as I like to say, interesting to good. If you lift the leg up and you're like, oh, I can't breathe, put the leg back down. Don't lift it as high. Now, remember those rocking and circling when you lift the leg up, if those add something, again, positive, feel like they help you settle into the shape, feel free to do that for a second. And then once you are settled, first let the back press down towards the floor. So we're pressing abdomen to spine to help with that. Try and reach that left knee away again, moving from the hip. Get an external rotation of your left hip. Then try and tip the tailbone towards the floor. You have to keep the abdomen really strong for this because oftentimes this can make the low back lift away from the floor for many people. It's really dependent on your body, but just feeling for how when we tip forward on the sacrum to tip the tailbone down, right, the low back moves a little bit away from the floor sometimes. So we want to keep the abdomen strong. All right, let that release. And a twist with the legs dropping to the right side is next. So if that sleeping pigeon felt good, you want to try it, you stay in figure four. I grab the front of that left ankle, cup really, and then I drop my legs over to the right side. And you can see I keep my left arm in until I'm in the twist, then I extend it out. And I kind of extend it down. I could do a cactus arm. That actually does feel pretty good. But if you get into this twist and you're like, ooh, this feels terrible, unwind right away and do the twist that feels fantastic, or at least the best enough, right, of all. There's so many supine twists. I rarely am focused on just one. Usually for me, this one feels a bit much, but today, ironically, the one that is, quote, the easiest, most gentle twist for all bodies aches on the side of my hips. So, all right, coming out of this, watch what I do. I bring my left arm in first. Then I roll a little to the right. I unwind my leg. I slowly stretch out and make a tall mountain. Now, when I'm making a tall mountain and I'm supine, I'm actually pressing my abdomen to the floor. So my back is pressing down. I'm going to take my arms a little wider and try and press my shoulders, back of the head down, backs of the legs down. And then let that all go. Take a moment, and we are moving towards Shavasana. So remember I had said to grab either a yoga blanket or a towel. And I'm going to do a quick showing fold here. First, I'm going to use the towel. So if you have a bath towel, right, it's folded in half the long way. So you have a rectangle. This seems exceptionally fussy, but you want to fold it kind of in fourths. But look what I'm going to do. I'm going to put, these are the edges of the towel, and they're kind of uneven and harder, so I fold them in. And then I fold this over till I get a long skinny rectangle like that. And then I do exactly that. I put it down the long edge of my mat, and I'm going to sit in front of it. And there's a little bit of space here for my fingers. I even sometimes leave my fingers there, and that's space for my low back to curve over the spine. Notice how my chin is tucked down, and I carefully lower myself. See this little tail here? Tuck your chin in, roll the tail under, and now you have a little headrest. Arms, maybe cactus arms, or leave them on the abdomen. You might take the feet wide and let the knees just drop together. You might stretch the legs out. If I had two towels, I would roll one up and put it under the back of the thighs. But this is a way to get a little bit of feeling of expansion across the chest. And honestly, across the abdomen, the whole front of the torso, while you rest in this Shavasana pose, corpse pose. We're going to do a little bit of practice here. Real quick, if you're using a yoga blanket and you're like, I'm not quite sure how to translate that into yoga blanket, and particularly if you're using a yoga blanket with these fringy knots at the end, you fold it, right, till you have a long rectangle. And then in this case, you fold it in thirds, right? And I honestly, I do this kind of Z fold. Let me do that slowly. That's one of those, people see me do that and I'm like, remind them, I'm like, I've been professionally folding blankets for over 20 years. Right. So I'm just folding a third and then a third. If that seems really complicated, you can just hand fold thirds. That's really easy to me, again, because I've been doing it for so many years. So once I have my 3 folds, the important part, these are going to be nice, soft, folded edges. That's the edges where the knots and the fringe are. Those go at the top. And see, similar setup. I have a long rectangle. Blanket's not for you. I sit in front, and same thing. I kind of keep my fingers here so I don't get so close to the mat. You're not sitting on the blanket. You're sitting in front of it, and you need a couple of inches of space for your back to roll down. And then I do the same thing. I roll those knotted fringes underneath and make a pillow for myself. A little high. There we go. And then I can choose to, do these different things with my arms or my legs. All right, stretch them out. A little extra reminder of how to set up to a really restful position for Shavasana, for that posture where we integrate our practice. And I hope you've had a chance to get yourself all set up and are resting there. Feel your whole body rest. I just happened to look at the clock. I was so on time earlier, and here we are at 1/4 past the hour. I'm going to take just a moment. We're going to get a couple little last practices in. This class will run just a little bit longer. If you did need to leave right at the quarter past the hour, you are there, and I thank you for being here. If you can stay for a moment longer, the breath practice we're going to do just a few rounds of is a stepped breath practice, or Viloma pranayama. Viloma pranayama means the breath practice, a practice that is against the grain, right? So what we do, that against the grain, is that interruption of the breath. We breathe all the way out, and then we take in just a tiny bit of breath, and then pause. Tiny breath, tiny pause, breath, pause, till you realize your breath is right there at the top, right behind the collarbones, and you pause and think, what a full breath. And then you exhale out slowly, completely, and then we start over. Breath in, breath, little pause, little breath, little pause, all the way to a full breath. Notice the fullness of that breath, and then breathe all the way out, slowly and steadily. Let's do 2 more rounds of this. Now, as you finish this exhale, let the breath return to the most ordinary average breath possible. What does that feel like when your breath returns to this average breath where you are not trying to make the breath happen anymore? What does that breath feel like? And as you're here, just settling into an average breath, notice how your body has settled. Notice how the floor is connected to your body. Your body is resting on the floor. For a moment, just feel all of those points of pressure, of connection. And breathe in that feeling of support beneath you. You don't have to feel like you need to make your breath bigger. Just for a couple of rounds as we finish together here, as you breathe in, feel how you are touching the earth, and feel like you are drawing up the vastness and the steadiness of the earth itself. And as you exhale, you are expanding outwards into the vastness of the sky, of space itself. Feeling your whole self resting here, breathing in the steadiness, the largeness of the earth itself, and breathing out, expanding into the vastness of space. Both on inhale and exhale, connecting to your sense of limitlessness and how you are allowed to take up space. And letting that sink deep within you. You are limitless, vast. You are here to take up the space you need. Quote from artist Stephanie Chen, who I've taken a workshop with. I have actually these cards up on the mantle behind me. Let me leave you with that reminder from Stephanie that breathing in, you're reminding yourself, I am no longer shrinking myself to make myself small or make anyone comfortable. And thank you for spending just a little extra time with me as I get the hang of these live YouTube classes. Next week, I hope you'll come back and join me for a yoga in chairs class. If you would like to have more classes, full-length classes, check out my bio. You can find a link to sign up for my newsletter and find out more about my live classes that are on Zooms most Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, barring doctor's appointments that I can't schedule for any other time other than to conflict when I'm teaching. And so it goes, right? Otherwise, I just thank you. Anyone that is still hanging out here with me, I see a couple of you. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm going to chant just one round of the mantra of wholeness for you after I read that chat message that I see popping up. Yeah, but that doesn't. Okay. Thanks for that feedback, Linda Joy. I wondered if this one was going to work. We did quite a lot of standing in this chair assisted one today. Occasionally, the chair assisted one is almost all on the floor, and some people, the bed, it works. But great feedback for that one. Next week, yoga in chairs. So if you're a Monday, Wednesday, Friday chair yoga class, you got an extra yoga in chairs class next week here on YouTube. Other than that, just let me chant this mantra of wholeness. One of the teachers in my original teachers in my community of integrated movement therapists, Stephanie Sison, translates this mantra that's from the Upanishads, the Purna mantra, as this is whole, that is whole. When you take whole from whole, that which remains is whole. So it reminds us of our unchanging wholeness in all things. So let me just take a deep breath in and share that with you. Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamarachate Purnyasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you for practicing. Bye-bye. I'll see you soon. New video coming out. Some new videos coming out in June too. Make sure you hit subscribe so you do not miss these live class announcements and new videos coming out to my channel. I will see you live here next Thursday, and there'll be some new videos as well coming for June. Can you believe it's going to be June on Monday? All right. Thanks, everyone.